And to discuss more on that, I'm joined by Prabhu Dayal. He's a former senior diplomat. Thank you, Ambassador Dayal, for joining us on the show. We'll come to Pakistan's ballistic missiles program. My opening question to you is, please help us understand, why is the US reacting to it now? Pakistan has been working on this for a while and the Americans knew it pretty well.
Well, Amritpal, thanks for having me on your show. You know, for several decades, India has been telling the United States and other Western countries that Pakistan is a rogue state and that its programs for developing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles are a threat to the world. Unfortunately, our warnings were completely ignored, especially by the United States, which thought that Pakistan's nuclear weapons and missiles were a threat to India alone. The United States believed that Pakistan's nuclear weapons program was India-specific.
And not just, Ambassador, may I interject, Ambassador, not just a threat to India, they believed it's a strategic deterrent in the region.
Okay, you can put it like that also. They didn't want, look, they had sanctioned India after the Pokhran explosion, nuclear explosion. But they completely ignored how Pakistan was stealthily developing nuclear weapons. I was posted in Karachi when Ziaul Haq was in power there, and Ronald Reagan was the American president. At that time, the Soviets were in Afghanistan, and the Americans wanted them out, and in that context, they regarded Pakistan as a strategic ally. Now, the CIA had given Ronald Reagan umpteen amount of evidence to show that Pakistan was developing a nuclear weapon, but Reagan ignored those and continued to falsely certify that Pakistan's nuclear program was not weapons-oriented, that it was peaceful. So, America is responsible for having helped indirectly Pakistan in developing nuclear weapons. Now, the situation has changed because Pakistan is no longer needed by the United States in the context of Afghanistan. Moreover, Pakistan has developed these ballistic missiles. The Shaheen 3 already has a range of 2,750 miles, and they are on way to developing longer range missiles. And that is why the senior US State Department official John Feiner has said that these Pakistani missiles would pose a threat to the United States also. Now, the fact is that whether or not Pakistan, with its present missiles, is anywhere near striking the United States, of course, many defense analysts feel that at present it is not. But, and this is a fundamental but,
okay,
America is the frontline ally, the most important ally of Israel. And Pakistan, if it succeeds in developing these Shaheen missiles to strike more than 3,000 miles, it will be able to hit it at Israel. That is a big cause of worry for the United States. Let me mention that the United States is deeply aware that Islamist terrorist outfits are becoming more and more powerful in Pakistan.
Okay.
A recent State Department report has said that these Islamist terrorist attacks against the security setup of Pakistan have gone up by more than 50% in recent months. So they know how dangerous the internal situation is, how fanaticism is taking over the country. And in this sort of a situation, there is no doubt that the Pakistan army is also increasingly being infused by this jihadi spirit. So it's not at all a good situation. And the Americans have at last woken up to the danger that Pakistan poses to their own interests. Perhaps even in the near future, they will look at the possibility of how Pakistan can strike the United States itself. But in any case, Israel is going to be very soon within Pakistani striking range, if it is not already. So the danger from Pakistan, which we had been warning the United States about, is
Okay.
something that they ignored, but they have now realized how serious that danger is.
Okay, you talk about the Islamists. The Islamists may be one angle, but for the future, but is it also about the US's growing concerns about its cooperation with China and China using its vassal states where it does not directly want to be seen as getting involved?
Well, there is enough evidence that North Korea has been helping Pakistan in developing ballistic missiles, and that the Shaheen 3 missiles have been developed with North Korean cooperation. And as you said, the US is concerned about the increasing threats from the satellite states of China. Pakistan is without doubt one such satellite state. Pakistan is hugely indebted to China, and for this reason, it follows the diktat of the Chinese authorities as much as they want it to. So, with this sort of influence that the Chinese have on Pakistan, the danger to American interests from Pakistan is something that they cannot ignore. And they are increasingly realizing that the danger which is coming to their interests cannot be ignored. And that is why they have sanctioned these 4 Pakistani entities, including the National Development Center, which was mainly involved in the development of the National Development Complex, involved in the development of missiles, and the 3 private entities which were supplying it with equipment for developing missiles. They have been sanctioned, and this is intended as a warning, but I'm sure that the United States intends to go much further, and it should, because at the moment, much more needs to be done.
I think they are mulling more sanctions. That's what the report suggests. Okay, Ambassador, you've served in Pakistan, you've served in that country, you understand the psyche there. Decisions as such are the reaction to that is taken more at GHQ Rawalpindi than at the Prime Minister's house in Islamabad. What sort of an effect would it have on the Pakistan establishment, especially those deciding things in these affairs at Pindi?
Everybody, including the US administration, knows that Pakistan is a deep state, and in the deep state, it is the army and the ISI which call the shots. The civilian government follows whatever is directed by them to it. In other words, the civilian government is there at the pleasure of the army, and if the army is displeased with anything which the civilian government does, it goes out. I can tell you how Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hanged by...
From Zulfikar to Imran Khan, everybody.
Everybody.
Even Nawaz Sharif
was imprisoned and then exiled. So it's the army which calls the shots. And in this particular instance, it's the army which is developing the ballistic missile program. The army has been in the forefront.
So would the sanctions be any deterrent to the army, sir?
Will sanctions be ever?
Would there be any deterrence to the army?
Yes, of course, they can be a very serious deterrent. But provided the United States shows that it means what it is saying, that it will hold Pakistan to account, and that the army will not be exempted from this. The Pakistan army has a close equation with the United States. But if the US interests are directly affected, and also the interests of Israel, then the United States is not going to tolerate that, and the army will be called to account. And I think that might be happening also in the background. Although we may not be aware of it, it may not be out in the media.
All right. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. That's all the time I have for today, but thank you very much for taking our time for us. and giving us, lending us your insights. Thank you.